Hello, everyone. Welcome back to one of our classy live streams here. Today we are here in lovely northwestern Colorado. We're actually just next to Utah. It's kind of over there in that direction. And we're in the Ryan NYP because I am a masochist. Now, of course, you're probably saying, just why? Why are you a masochist? Is there something that you're not telling us about this particular flight that's confusing or you need to tell us? Well, the reality is if you've ever looked out the front of this thing, you'll quickly realize that this was not engineered for the purposes of being an easy-to-fly airplane. Now, the reason I chose this particular region, of course, is it's absolutely beautiful. And there's what better way to not be able to see these beautiful mountains than to not be able to see these beautiful mountains. For these people who have, of course, operated this plane before, you probably recognize this. And our only method of seeing forward is this little periscope lever that we can actually pop out, and we get this nice little window, so to speak, to what's going on outside. So it's going to make things very, very interesting for us, which is precisely why I chose it, because, like I said, a masochist and all that other things. For those of you who'd like to join us today, we're up here at Kilo Romeo India Lima. This is, like I said, kind of way, way over on the edge of everything. And this should be a pretty interesting flight because we're flying through canyons today, and we have an aircraft that's not really optimized for that, to say the least. So this should be an interesting exercise, to say it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weight and balance, and the first thing I recommend everybody does is to reduce the amount of fuel you're carrying. If you are flying this one today and you're not flying, like I see some, I think he's got Junkers over there or something like that, you want to be a little on the light side. It's going to make it much, much safer to go ahead and get going here. So go ahead and I'll release my parking brake here as if I have a parking brake. I just look, looks like a steam locomotive. Notice I've got like no brakes or anything. I have a little hand lever I'm supposed to pull if I want to do that. Like how the little pitch trim here is a little hand. Whoa, ew, ew. Let me go ahead and catch that. Of course, it re-engages that afterwards. We're going to set that to easy just in case. Y'all didn't see anything. Ground handling. Nice. Get ourselves lined up with the runway here. And it looks pretty good. I see the Alpha Rog so opted for the Junkers. You're a little less brave, but the Junkers is actually going to struggle with this particular flight because of the region. And unfortunately, I don't have differential braking, which makes it really, really hard to steer. Ground handling. So we can go ahead and solve that problem directly there. All right, looks pretty good. I wish I could open my windows, because if I could, I would go ahead and do that now. But, we'll be fine. Full power! Whee! So after takeoff, of course, we're going to be executing a nice gentle right turn, and we're going to be flying kind of down these valleys. Look at this thing going pretty smoothly here. There we go. And I think like a 10-degree nose-up kind of attitude here. We might actually have to fly a little bit from outside today. It is so scandalous for me to fly from outside. But I'm simulating pilot awareness of my kind of environment around me, kind of a thing like that. So one of the interesting things, of course, is we've flown in this region before, and the reason I love this region, and you probably picked this up already, is I love the mountains. Like, you don't really get an opportunity where I live to see mountains that quite look like this. So this is always kind of a fun little adventure for me to be able to kind of see those at that level. So I'm going to go ahead and take a nice gentle right turn here, and again, at this weight, it's really, really easy to operate this aircraft because what is our gross weight on this thing? It's insanity. It's, what do we get? We get 5,200 pounds or so, but you'll notice here, the max level fuel is 2,700 pounds of that fuel. That's incredible if you think about it. I'm just going to go ahead and execute my nice little gentle turn here. Simon's got the right idea. Alpha Rog, welcome back. Simon, welcome back. And we're just going to start making our way towards this really, really nice valley. And of course, what I can do here is I can go peek up into the little compass here and look out the window. I just love the fact they kind of simulate like the haze, the actual mirror that we're going to be using, sort of a thing. And I'm just going to start aiming directly towards that really serious looking little valley that I see over on my 12 o'clock there. Go level off and I'll start heading directly towards it. I'm not going to bother to reduce my throttle or anything like that. It's just not needed for today's flight. So I'm just going to kind of get that just about leveled up. A couple taps of trim and we are good to go. Delightful. Now, of course, I can snap back to my regular view and have a pretty good look at this particular aircraft. Now, one of the things I'm so tickled by is this feels like something somebody would have made in Gary's mod. If you look at the instrumentation on it, like all the individual fuel valves, because you can customize to keep the balance of the fuel all set properly, it's all basically right here. And you can set which one you want to turn on and turn them off, and you can monitor the actual flow of fuel inside these little windows here. My instrumentation, I think several of these like ripped right off of like ships. Yeah, it is U.S. Navy. I noticed this was basically taken off of probably would have been like an old boat or something like that, and they just sort of chuck it on there. My little magnetic compass control here, my regular compass. I love the watch. the good old fuel instrumentations. And I love the mixture handle here. It's just like this kind of a thing like this. Now, we actually can lean this mixture a little bit. I'm actually going to do that right now. What's it going to end up being here? Just watching the RPM slowly climb here. Wow. Oh, we're finding the sweet spot. That's the sweet spot. Mixture 6. There we go. So now we have our mixture set to 6. And we're moving. We're definitely cooking along here, making our way towards this unbelievably dangerous valley that we're basically going to attempt to rip ourselves through. So that, like I said, should keep it kind of interesting for us kind of a thing as we approach it. Obviously, this aircraft would probably have a much, much easier time of this if we were at a slightly higher altitude. But like I said, you can't always have your way kind of a thing like that. But that's perfectly fine. Okay, we need to bring ourselves a little bit more towards the east here. And you can see the lovely river. That's going to be what we're going to be flying alongside of today. And just kind of taking the incredible scenery of this particular environment, of which little I can see out my left and right window, kind of a thing like that. All right. I actually have SkyVector open today, doing some conventional navigation, I guess is what I would call it. Give myself a couple taps and nose down trim, and I'm just going to let this thing kind of just sort of glide. Let's see. We have a couple of people saying hi. Scott's asking what's our flight plan today. We're Kilo Romeo India Lima to, oh boy, I have to go look it up again. I just followed the Colorado River 20 Victor, this McElroy field, for those of you who are looking like it. All right, cool. And Tora, of course, welcome back too. A long time no see, so it should be kind of fun. And I just love, just kind of peeking out this window going, oh yeah, this seems legit. And of course, we can always sneak out here. I'm going to go head over to the a little closer on this side of things so I can get a little bit better view of where our little river is. Now, one of the interesting things is, for those of you who follow sales, is you'll notice that we have a Black Friday sale going over right now on Flight Sim on the marketplace. I'm not advertising for anything particular or anything like that. I will say I did pick up a couple airplanes, one of which I was extremely tempted to fly instead of this today. But I like a challenge, so I went with the challenging option today. And of course, I picked up the Pilatus, the PC-21, which is this, wow, that thing can move. It's a little turboprop, basically trainer plane. And also scooped up the Bonanza, which I've been meaning to have that thing for ages, kind of a thing. And there's our Colorado River right off the 12 o'clock, so we're doing just fine here. The airspeed is in miles per hour. There's just something very quaint about miles per hour as an airspeed. Like, it's not usually something that I think of. Usually for me, everything's in knots, which is kind of funny because of the 3 planes I fly on kind of a regular basis in the real world. One of them is in miles per hour, and the other 2 are knots. So it's just kind of one of those fun things that, like, for example, the 182 is in miles an hour, but my approach speed is 70 to 80 miles an hour. But you climb into the Mooney, and it's 70 knots. So it's like, oh, that's convenient, even though they're completely different speeds. That's just kind of one of those things. For those of you who, of course, who are cheating a little today and on a little nav map, as we kind of come sneaking into this, oh boy, wait till you see how tight this gets. This is dangerous, but that's why I love it. Like, hopefully for us, so we don't go smacking into things. I did shut damage off today. I know that's kind of scandalous, but when I've learned anything from live streaming long enough is that leaving damage on is not necessarily a good thing. So I'm going to go play some passenger here, and there's our lovely Colorado River. It's looking pretty good today. It's not incredibly yellow or brown, which is always a good sign. It's not particularly raging or anything like that. Of course, we have no knowledge of anything dangerous, like stuff we're going to slam into. I love our little compass corrections, how insanely precise it is on this particular aircraft. And there is our little journey here, and we're going to come take it down here. Now, one fun thing you could do for those of you who are big canyon flyer types is you can actually go down this like in a stunt plane or something like that, and you can get going pretty quick down here. Like, you'd be really, really surprised. And there's a couple spots where you have to really be careful because it narrows, and then it does like a quick switch back, and even the bridge they built across for the road people, you can tell that the person in the car is probably getting a little panicky as they cross over the top of that kind of a thing. Let's see here. I got a morning. Welcome. K-Boss, K-R-O-A. Something to watch while you're at cruise. That's funny. I never think of watching a live stream of flying while you're flying. There's just something not bad about that. Just something feels nutty about that, but that's very amusing. And we got to bring ourselves a little bit to the left here. I don't want to go smacking into that. I just love how, like, you get a little window to the world, but that was kind of the reason I chose this, is I wanted to make this challenging. One of the things I was going to do, we'll probably say this for next live stream, is I was actually going to do an instrument live stream, do everything by hand instrument, instead of using, like, autopilot or anything like that. And that would be a great review for everybody who's looking for a little bit of practice. I feel like at any point I'm just going to smack into something because I'm not paying attention here. But I am following the river. I'm pretty confident we can get through very, very safely along the river. And I just love these little towns here. Oh, it's a nice gentle right. I really got to pay attention to where I'm going here. Look at that little mountain right there. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Just stay straight. course, some more wise and pragmatic people would say, if you climb, you don't have to worry about smacking into any of that stuff. It's like, yeah, but that's not as much fun. All right, using my pilot awareness skills here. That was my pilot awareness. And we're just going to come swing around this way. Unfortunately, the default position's a little on the low side, so it's kind of hard. So that was an easy one to dodge. It gets very dangerous in about 10 minutes, so that'll be fun for us. And I almost missed that one. So again, we'll try to stay on the river the best we can. I guess if I wanted to be safe plus, I could like fly at the river's altitude, but there's a bunch of bridges that actually cross over the Colorado that we wouldn't be able to have a good time with. So we have to kind of be, whoa, we're running out of terrain. Whoa, that was close. We'll be fine. Just kind of sneaking our way down here. So one other thing I want to say real quickly while I'm thinking about and kind of keeping organized, and we're not getting to the interesting part of the flight yet, which is coming up. It's coming up. Is the fact that this morning, I didn't get an email or anything, but I was poking around on my phone. One of the things I do once in a while is I'll go open up the YouTube app instead of the YouTube Music app. And one of the things I realized when I opened up YouTube, that's like the content studio, whatever the heck they call it, was how dangerously close I was to having 30,000 subscribers. And so I'm sitting there going, oh, that's interesting. I'd be ashamed if I didn't get a picture of that when it happened. So you can probably imagine the last 3 or 4 hours, every once in a while, just open up my phone. Am I there? Open up my phone. Am I there? Open up my phone. And as of, and I can give you the exact time, of course, keep in mind you lose subscribers as fast as you gain them. As of, let me get my phone out. Let's fly a plane that we can't see out of while I'm on my phone. Let's see here. This was 11:08 a.m. I'm sorry, it can't be 11:08 a.m. That makes no sense. I don't have the timestamp on it. It was about 10 o'clock a.m. this morning. We crossed 30,000. So that's insanity. I cannot. A little excited, sorry. I can't fathom the fact that we're over 30,000 subscribers. There are more subscribers on our channel here than I have in the people in the town I live in. And I don't really live in a small town. I look at the town that I work in, and there are more subscribers. Obviously, you combine the two. We don't have that kind of a thing. But it's amazing. Like, I just simply cannot believe that there are 30,000 subscribers to some very, very poorly named channel. One of the things I was thinking about this morning is like, maybe I should probably get around to renaming it something that makes more sense. Gatcom Gaming or something like that, or Red 64, something nice and simple and logical. But I can't do it now. I've come too far. Too bad I can't open this window like on a train, because then I could stick my head out. That'd be kind of nice. All right, we're going to get our first actual challenging turn coming up. Oh my gosh, look at this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Gotta pay attention to what I'm doing for a second here. Uh-oh. Looks like somebody went swimming. Love it. If I turn my head to the right a little bit, like it's so hard to find like a comfortable position. Although I think, if I recall correctly in Flight Sim... Oh! That's an interesting camera angle. Huh. As I go crashing into the wall, I'm messing with my camera angles rather than doing it. So I'm a little excited to say the least. 30,000 is an insane achievement. I can't believe it. I wouldn't have been able to hit this without people's support. And I honestly, I'm like speechless. I remember when we hit 20,000, it was a similar kind of thing where it was just like, that'll never hit 30,000. And here we are, 30,000 about 2 years later. And that's incredible. Incredible. I look back at, I've got something like 1,100 videos now, which is when I don't think of it that way, but, I spent an hour and 45 minutes this morning recording stuff for next week. I'm not quite done yet. I'm getting there. And it's just, I'm kind of adding up the time, and I did a video here, and I did a video there, then I do videos in the summer, and then next thing you know, we're pushing, like I said, over 1,000 videos, 30,000 subscribers. So each subscriber gets 3 videos. Now, it's not like that. It's backwards. 0.33 videos per subscriber kind of a thing. Actually, it's not even the math either. Forget it. I can't add. And it's just insane. Like, I cannot believe that. I look at the success of other YouTube channels and stuff, and, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, what would you do if you had 1 million subscribers? Nothing different. Because as everybody knows, I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. It just was not something I was expecting. And of course, happens at the end of 2023 here, which is pretty exciting that it kind of happens. Not quite on the anniversary of when I started doing Flight Sim videos, but relatively close to that particular point. So I think that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. You know, we started in 2020, and here we are, 2023, about 10,000 subscribers a year. That's staggering and amazing and awesome and wonderful. And I can't thank everybody enough for everything they've done. And I look forward to continuing at the very least, kind of a thing. We have a Flight Sim 2024 coming out next year. Hey, oh, here we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That's the view to use. We have a Flight Sim 2024 coming out. I've commented on this many, many times before. The key thing is I'll probably not start over, but there will be some revisiting, to say the least, when 2024 does come out, just because there's going to be a whole bunch of new folks who are going to want to see how things are going. And I know there's a much, much stronger focus in 2024 kind of dedicated to like missions, especially helicopter missions. So it should be interesting, and it'll definitely keep us busy when that does kind of come out, kind of a thing. In the interim, there's a lot of things I have some ideas on. I'd love to explore AI more. I don't think that I do enough with it. I think I have some things to contribute as far as AI goes. I find it kind of fun, at least in my opinion. And it'd be neat to kind of see how that evolves and maybe explore that. There's other flight sims out there. DCS has got an F4 coming out very, very soon, and I'm very looking forward to that. That is one of my all-time favorite aircrafts of all time. I just think it's such an amazing piece of history, and it's like the most brute force solution. And I love the fact that the U.S. Air Force didn't need like 10 different airplane types. They basically picked one and stuck to it, kind of a thing, which I don't know, I just get such a kick out of that, and I think that's amazing. All right, so this is how we get terribly lost, by the way. This is Glenwood Springs. This is not our stop, but believe it or not, there is an airport, but we're not going to be taking that airport. We're actually going to be swinging to the left here and staying on the river. Our goal here is to basically kind of snake up to, like I said, 20 Victor. So I'm just going to kind of enjoy my little left turn here. Fun fact, you can actually save camera angles. I should probably have done a video of that back in September of 2020, but oh well. There we go. Go ahead and enjoy a nice gentle right turn there. Oh yeah, this is safe. Look at this canyon. Like I said, this is one of my favorite places on Earth to fly, in case you couldn't tell. Not that I can do it like muscle memory on this particular flight or anything, but like this is like the fjords of Colorado kind of a thing. It's absolutely beautiful. And that river is so much more calm and tame than it would be otherwise. And I love the fact that there's a tunnel there, but they don't show you there's a tunnel there, so they just sort of just kind of crash. And that's kind of how that goes. Now, if you want to be an idiot, you could do one of these things. Oh boy. Hear the plane stressing. Oh boy, we are not a stunt plane. Not a stunt plane. And we could do that. If we want to be really dumb, we could try to do it from the periscope. Oh my gosh. Gonna die. Gonna die. And I think we did it. And now, of course, we have to swing back the other way. Oh man, isn't that so cool? I just love this region. You can't really get an F-18 in here. It's the speed, everything's too tight for an F-18. There we go. Go ahead and level ourselves off, and I kind of enjoy the little journey back over the trees here as I lose sight of where the river is. Again, we probably want to stay where the road is because they had to flatten that particular region out for the road. No problem. And one of the interesting things is you go way, 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 way back on some of our early streams. I actually have a fun video idea one of these days. We actually flew nearby here where Moose Creek is up in Utah. And there's also Aspen, which is basically over there to the southeast. And it's just kind of one of those little pieces where it's like, oh, okay, so we've been here before. But like I said, this is such a nice region. And it's so easy to fly. I've done helicopters in here. By the way, it's 6,200 feet, in case you're curious. And helicopters don't like altitudes like this. And the only reason we're getting away with this airplane right now is because of the fact that we can see our mixtures nice and lean. And also we're a very, very long-ranged airplane, which makes it nice and easy for us. Go ahead and enjoy my name. I have to kind of come out this window real quick to go ahead and take a turn in this direction. This is like a fun camera angle in general, especially because like you can't see through the wings. So like as you're taking these turns, you have to like kind of like predict it. Oh man, this is awesome. Whee! Well, we do have a front window, TJ. Well, no, we don't. What am I saying? We have this periscope, and it sticks out. You can actually put in the... Why would you do that? But again, it just makes it flights like this much fun. Like I said, I wanted something challenging but kind of fun at the same time, so that's why I opted for it. And definitely coming up on a left turn here, and that'll be okay. I love if you kind of look down a little bit, you can see like where the valley swings back the other way. Like I said, absolutely gorgeous place to drive your car, absolutely gorgeous place to fly your plane. Not so good at helicopters. One of the things I tried back in my X-Plane days is I came through here with an ultralight, and it didn't go well. Ultralights do not like this altitude. Hey, Lavo Rug. Unfortunately, your Junkers is gonna have a little bit more power than we do. Could have done the tri-motor. I didn't even think of that. Ah, Simon crashed. This is challenging. This is really challenging. I know I'm making it look easy kind of a thing like that, but keep in mind this is challenging. Oh, he's going for it. Don't sink. Don't sink. Pull up. Pull up. Terrain. Terrain. Nice. Landed that sucker. Love this region. Now, I remember doing a video on this airplane ages ago, and one of the fun things with that video, of course, was trying to get this thing down on the ground, and that's probably going to be the worst part of the whole video, is trying to get through that piece. But it's okay. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'm swinging through this way. Just love this. Gotta really be... You don't need any rudder at all on this plane, which is so impressive. And get ready for the right turn there. Are you not entertained? Oh, easy. Oh my gosh, I don't like this. This is how I would fly this in the real world, by the way. I'd basically be sticking my head out the window and getting... My skin would be very red by the end of this flight. And of course, when I pull off my goggles or whatever, you just see like kind of like a little tan line or whatever. Just kind of one of those things. Such a cool region. I love this canyon. I always like people think like, oh, the Grand Canyon. Yeah, I want to do the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is cool. The Grand Canyon is cool, but Grand Canyon is more F-18 cool. This is more whatever's got a propeller on the front of it cool. Oh boy, this is going to be bad. Yeah, one of the neat things is it's like Junkers rather, not Junkers. I should be respectful here and pronounce things correctly. The Junkers is a really neat plane. I love this tunnel down here. We can't actually see the entrance to it. I forget the name of it, but I can't get to it right away. But one of the interesting things with the Junkers, of course, is it's a Brumbly, very manual German plane, basically. And I like that. I like that in an airplane. Give me something like that. Now, if there was a Brumbly German-Russian plane, that'd probably be my favorite plane ever, kind of a thing. But the tri-motor has a certain weirdness to it, which I really appreciate. And it also has that very, very bizarre like braking technique where it's a hand brake. And I don't know, I just get such a kick out of that. Also, see where the tunnel comes out? I don't blame the engineers. Yeehaw! Nice! Look at that. Look at that. I've got what it takes. A good question about the U.S. updates with the terrain. I don't remember the terrain here being poor. I always remember it being pretty good as far as the way they sort of laid things out. So I don't know if this is an updated terrain thing, kind of a thing. I would not be surprised if there are a bunch of missions that take place in here that I have never played. You want to know something really kind of funny? I've never actually played any of the built-in missions, with the exception of the carrier landing one that I did for a video once. It's just kind of one of those things where those missions have always been there. I just never do them. I remember in the original FSX they had missions also, and it was like landing in Princess Juliana with like a Learjet, and then there was like Sitka, Alaska, like at sunset. And then they had that cool, what was it, getting your little flight lessons thing. But what they did terribly, and at least in my opinion, in those missions, especially when you're trying to get your license, is if you dipped out of whatever the standard was for the ACS, like, if you needed to maintain 500 feet per minute and you were 502 feet per minute, it instantly failed. I'm like, that's not usually... Oh, I lost my seating view. I've been disoriented. I've lost my view here. They instantly failed you, and that was stupid. In the real world, yeah, there are standards for pilot certification, but they're there to fail you if they need an excuse to fail you. They're not an excuse to just auto-fail you, and it's just kind of one of those things. Failing as a pilot right now, pilots would not do something this stupid. This is poor decision-making on my part. Oh boy, I'm going to kind of hang to the right here, because that looks incredibly sketchy, which we're about to try to pull ourselves through. Give myself a little tiny bit of altitude. Of course, I've got no performance, so if I need to get out of here in a hurry, it's going to be tough. I like how my mixture right now is at mixture 6. It's great. Oh, I don't like this at all. Oh, I don't like this. Alright, we're going to hug this side of the mountain. I'm going to stick my head out the other side. Yes, please have a button that is on your joystick that allows you to quickly move your head. It's one of those things I picked up from an X-Plane, and I can't not do that anymore. I love it. Even in DCS, I have a button that lets me move my head quick. Whee! Uh-oh. There we go. Not bad. Not bad at all. Now we're doing fine. And we're just going to kind of keep on cruising here. Like I said, this is an absolutely beautiful region here. About 6,300 feet, I think it says in the altimeter when I went by it. And where it all opens up here, we're actually going to be hitting one of the highest altitude airports in the United States. That's Eagle County Regional. It's an absolutely cool airport. It's one of those things that whenever I need like an excuse to fly, I always pick Eagle County and take a left. And it basically takes you through the canyon that you went through. We started, like I said, way back at Krill there, Garfield, just because it was just a little bit easier. But you'll notice how the whole region here just opens up nice and wide. And there's always somebody in here with like an extra 300 or like a Pitts S or something like that, kind of ripping around because it just kind of works out. Now, I would not recommend the DC-3 for this flight. You're not going to be able to turn quick enough. You just can't do it. And I certainly wouldn't recommend anything that does 250. Even the TBM would be a bit sketchy. Although the TBM, you can drop flaps and get pretty slow if you need to. All right. I can take like a breath here and just kind of enjoy my little flight as I'm kind of ripping along. Now, interesting fact, in case you're curious, we're flying with 15% fuel right now. And I'm at full throttle. I'll lean the mixture and everything like that. And according to my calculator, I have 4 hours of fuel left. Just to give you an idea of the incredible range of this airplane. I'll go switch over to my mirror real quickly here so I can kind of see where we're going. Pioneer Compass is not happy. Pioneer Compass does not improve. What electrical system. I love the chips in the wood and everything, like where they put the screws in. Like, this is just awesome. Now, one of the things, of course, people say is, why can't we see out the front here? And the reason because that is this is fuel tank. This is all fuel tank, and it has to be that way because that's the only way we was able to make that incredibly long journey there. All right, so this is Eagle County coming up on the right. From Eagle County, of course, we're going to sneak up to 20 Victor. So we're going to go ahead and execute my left turn. And we're going to start making our way up on these sides of things. Now, this is where the flight's going to get a little more interesting. You'll see what I mean as we start to cut along the river here. All right, let's do it. So from this point forward, you can continue that way over to the east there. That's going to take you to Avon. Nice region, like I said, very, very nice. Not as crazy as what we just did. But for our purposes, like I said, we're heading to that little airport that's kind of over the 20 Victor. And we're just going to kind of enjoy this part. Man, I know it's not, I know it's default weather, but I can feel the colds. Imagine this time of year. Actually, let's have some fun. See what happens real quickly here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's Aspen weather for you. There we go. Oh, there it is. That's more like it. It's not winter yet in the United States, but this region would probably look like this. I can't see it not having like 10 feet of snow on the ground. At least they did a really nice job plowing the roads there. Like, I'm pretty impressed with that. And you can see it slowed down to nothing here as we kind of came sniping around, but that's okay. Yes, this is much more convincing to this region. So having an instrument rating is basically mandatory in this part of the world. There's very, very little other ways that you could get away with not having an instrument rating. You're always going to have bad weather. Of course, this is a ball of ice above us. So if we were to go smacking directly into this, it would go pretty poorly for us. All right, here. So we need to take a right. Castle Peak's up on my right. I'm just kind of doing the math real quickly here. I think I'm going to keep the snow. I don't think I'm going to keep the... let's go drop this down to like 10 degrees. There we go. I'm going to keep the snow. I'm not going to keep anything. That looks good right there. I like that. Nice. We'll keep it. So it looks like a nice crisp. Now, these are beautiful days. When you have these really, really dry days and it's like a high pressure and it's like nothing but a giant snowball. But like my toes are getting cold, just imagining just how incredibly intense this would feel right now. I also appreciate the fact that like the trees are sparkly, but they're not just a wall of white. I guess it would kind of be, depending on kind of what time of year this is, that takes place, would have a big impact on that. But that's okay. Couple taps of trim. And we're just going to kind of swing this way and kind of bring our way up to a 20 Victor there. 20 Victor is, let me look, it's McElroy. That's right. You know what would be bad right now? I'm going to stick my face out the window. Look at how beautiful this is. That is incredible. I know it seems to have only two colors, but there's something to be said for things that are really high in contrast, and that's just amazing. You know, just seeing like the way the river just lazily cuts. You have the big ice cubes, of course, little bergs of ice kind of floating through it. You know, some guy in his kayak right now who thinks, you know, minus 20 isn't enough. So he says, I'll make it colder and use my kayak today. And you got to imagine these little tiny sleepy towns like this right there. What do we have for a population on that town? 10? Probably not even a town. We're probably in a bigger region here that they can have basically get on the highway to get down to. And then like when the road closes, the road's closed for like a month at a time kind of a thing. It's incredible when you think about it. And we're just going to come swing this way. Now this region actually reminds me a lot of the Ardennes. It's kind of got that sort of rollingness. It's a little tall for the Ardennes, but it definitely has that feel to it. Just like the way that everything gets cut through here. Not a lot of traffic today. I wonder why. One of the interesting things I've learned recently is, I have an electric car now. I have an electric and a gas. I like that guy's house right there. But my electric car, of course, this time of year, the range goes down a little bit. So I'm like, okay, what do they mean by down a little bit? Like 30% down. Like incredible. You always lose fuel economy during the summer, or winter rather. That's always going to happen. You lose a little during the summer too because of air conditioning. But I was not ready for how much battery you lose. It's incredible. Just like going like slow and like in downtown or something, once the heat kicks on, you just watch your battery go, oh, it just sinks to nothing. Trips we could make during the summer with air conditioning going, we probably couldn't even make without having to recharge somewhere. It's just one of those things that surprised me. Toradon's flying to Iceland next week and been scouting it. Iceland's awesome. We were actually planning on going to Iceland in April. That was something that we were planning on. I agree. Iceland is primordial. The southeastern or southwestern corner of Reykjavik is and all that kind of stuff. It's very much like almost like a Greenland, it's almost like a Scotland thing going on. But then you cross into the north and northeastern part of the island, and it's just primordial. It looks like the Kamchatka Peninsula. It's huge valleys. Nobody lives anywhere nearby. There's not even roads to these places. It's incredible. It definitely, if we had like a Mall of Ryan or something like that, an M7, we could definitely take that out. Oh, we could take the Beaver. We'll take the Beaver in Iceland. Thanks. Awesome, Toro. Yeah, Simon's right. Yes, no, absolutely. Iceland would be a solid spot. I'll remember that. Like I said, we were going to go when the news about the volcano, I hope everybody's okay kind of a thing, came out. It kind of stopped us, and also kind of time of the year. We wanted to catch the Northern Lights, which are absolutely beautiful. So I wanted an opportunity. We have to play with our timing to make that one work. But someday, I would like to. I've been to Iceland before, actually, believe it or not. During the summertime, it's like the surface of the moon. It's just brown. Kind of interesting. Not that my state is the prettiest state going around anywhere. You see the green or it's gray. Like there's no like lovely in between like we have here. It's just kind of the nature of that beast. All right, it should be pretty, if my calculations are somewhat correct here. It's over there. We can't see it very. Whoa! Hey, SDO, welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. Anybody else? Good. Nice and quiet today. Looking for a relaxing one. Sorry we missed everybody last weekend. My work schedule has corresponded perfectly with my live stream schedule, and it's incredibly hard to do an early in the day live stream when you basically have to work all day. So it's just kind of one of those things. Yes, I work 2 other jobs other than my primary. That's the wonderful thing about being an educator. Yes! That's kind of the nature of the beast. Maybe that'll change someday, but it doesn't seem like it'll change anytime soon. There we go. We're going to have to kind of navigate that little pass over in the distance. Could you imagine driving a tank through here? There was all those future movies where, like, the Soviet Union invaded the United States, and you look at these regions going, okay, sure. Basically, you'd have to starve them out. Like, you couldn't... You can't attack these regions. It's just not a thing. You bypass them, you concentrate on where the roads are, and you choke them out. And that's basically the only thing you can do. And it's basically been that way through history. And so they developed technology that, like, again, drones are getting better, lasers are getting better. So you get a point where basically you have drones with lasers, and when they see someone, they just pew like that instantly, and they just basically operate over the region 24/7. Like that's the only way you're going to get it. And then they're just going to get creative. They're going to find ways to hide themselves. So it's just one of those things where you always think about this from a strategic perspective, kind of a thing like that. It's kind of fun. So nice. Like I said, very primordial. Not primordial. Not quite Kamchatka. There'd just be no trees. And one of these days we'll fly there. It's kind of empty. That's really the safest way to say that. It's empty. Is it fascinating? Yeah, it's kind of beautiful in its own weird way, but it's empty. Very, very, very empty. There we go. It's kind of level off. I'm glad somebody maintains this tree. Was that a train bridge? It's like a road, and probably the road goes along here. Yeah, we're doing okay. I love this guy's house. How you doing? Probably like a ranch. It's probably not a town. Gotta come come swinging in this way. I regret taking this plane a little bit, but I'm going to make it work anyway because I don't care. A lot of people don't opt for this plane ever because they're terrified of it, and they shouldn't be. Yeah, the landing's going to suck. I'm just going to get to that right now and admit my landing's already bad, even though I haven't landed yet. It's going to be bad. Of course, with this weight, maybe it won't be too bad, but we'll see. I love the fact, like, look at the detail in this. Somebody had to, like, model all that, and you can see where, like, the skin comes together, and it was doped. Love that. Of course, that's a little ugly, but that's okay. And we're going to be careful to watch out for this peak right on my right. And we're going to be here. Nice. Come swing over the side. Enjoy this side. Just so peaceful. Of course, one thing I did not turn on was there's a big cabin heat handle here. And we should probably have pulled the little handle out for that because I'd be pretty cold at this point. But, you know, welcome to flying this time of year. Take a look over my messages real quick. Double check, make sure I didn't miss anything here. Fly the plane, crash, good quality. Okay, good, I got everything. Excellent. So 20 Victors are coming up. We're probably, let's see if I can do the math real quick here. About 20 miles. Whoa, that's not the right button for that. About 20 miles or so out, so not too bad. Flying time for us at 80, that's about 15 minutes. So we're doing pretty well so far. Glad I leaned the mixture. This thing would not be liking me very much right now. I like how my fuel right now indicates that I have 6. I have 6 fuel. It's not fuel. That's fuel pressure. And of course, one of the things you do is you sit in here and go, okay, so where are my fuel instrumentations? Kind of a thing. And you get these little sight gauges and stuff like that, but that's about it. I also like the fact that my pitch trim has little pins to stick the trim into, so they click, 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 click. And you lock the trim at a specific position. Like, man, that's old school. Man, that's old school. I don't hate it, but man, it's old school. You know, I think about one of my experiences flying at Pipers and stuff like that. It's like, how much trim do you really need? It's quite a bit, but you don't have to move the trim wheel far. Like, the difference between the most trim you need and the least trim you need is like a degree, and that's it. But for that one, just the amount of trim you have. And of course, when you're in an airliner, this changes completely. You have big changes to trim, like your whole entire stabulator will actually adjust angle. So it's interesting how airplanes are just so much better balanced than people will give them credit sometimes. And it's just kind of one of those things. All right. I think if I point my nose this way, that'll start getting us in the general direction of our destination here. Couple taps of trim down. That's good. And I like that right there. Now, one of the interesting things, though, with this plane, too, as I was mentioning, is we can't really fly this plane on instruments. And our attitude indicator consists of a bubble level, which, while I don't love it, I don't necessarily hate it. It works. Like, I can tell what your pitch is just by looking real quickly at these two. And, you know, I'm never going to have an instrument failure with this unless it, like, leaks out. I just know for a fact that in the real world, this would be going all over the place. Like, it'd be wiggling and going left and right, and every little shake or shudder of the plane would send the thing kind of at a weird angle. It's just, this is very, very stable, and that's one of the things that I haven't seen a flight sim quite get right yet, is just how much drama a plane has, or how much vibration a plane has. And there are some exceptions, I will say that, but as a general rule, it's just not a lot of drama, and that's just kind of one of those things that makes it feel very stale. Not that it needs to be whatever, but I don't know, that's just how I feel about these things. I love how there's just like 10, look at all the fuel valves so you can customize which one you're using to keep it all balanced. It's so wild. So wild. Now, one of the things you find kind of interesting here is over there in the distance, I don't know if you caught this when I was flying here, is there's a lot of airplanes all kind of queued up, chilling over here kind of a thing, because we're very, very close to Aspen, and everybody loves flying into Aspen because it has an extremely steep approach. And it's one of those things that, like, for those of you who haven't had a chance to fly that approach, it's terrifying. It's really steep. And now if you fly it in actual instrument conditions, you immediately get respect for why it takes, you know, basically special aircrew training in order to do it. I like this. There's our little region. It looks like we're frozen in time here, but remember, our little window to the world isn't even a window, it's a mirror. And it's a scraped up mirror, too. You think somebody could have gone in there and, like, kind of cleaned this up. But keep in mind, if we get a bug in that mirror or something, keep in mind this is open, by the way. Yeah, that's going to be bad, because I have to, like, kind of reach out to, like, grab it and clean it. I can hear somebody sneaking up on me. I heard it. I still hear it. There he is. Nice. Formation flying. That is going to be my screenshot right there. Got it. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate the assist. I'm grabbing that screenshot now, so after I crash land this thing, it won't matter, kind of a thing like that. Not a lot of people with us today, but that's okay. If we're doing fighter jets over Los Angeles, I'm sure there'd be quite the turnout. So I'm not gonna do that. Now, the interesting thing is, and take it as it is I usually don't travel to places that are cold for vacation. It's kind of one of those interesting things. I look back at it. Like, when we're doing like an April break or something like that, we typically go do, St. Kitts or something like that. We don't go down to Florida. We don't talk about Florida anymore. People live in the U.S., you know why. And one of the interesting things of that, of course, is like, we have a summer. Where would you like to go? I wanted to go to New Zealand. Well, it'll be winter in New Zealand. You won't be able to drive around. Oh, kind of one of those things where someday, we've flown to New Zealand a couple times. We'll definitely head out that way. Yeah, a little bit more to my left here. Just love how many people are out that way. I think I'm going to go check my chart real quick. Granby's out that way. And Longmont, and I think, what is out that way? Collins. Denver's out that way. This is all Denver business. If it's not Aspen, it's all Denver business. I gotta admit, though, this plane's pretty stable. Like, I'm not, like, struggling to control it or anything like that. Obviously, it's not windy or anything, but it's not tough. And I just love the fact, why would I ever do that? Obviously, it's to stay a little cooler inside, or a little warmer inside, rather. But, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Obviously, it would... Did it create drag? It would create a little drag. Yeah, I guess it would. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. All right, so we're getting pretty close to our destination at this particular point. Let's see if I can give you some information. Let's see. This is McElroy. It's in Kremling. Let's see here if I can give you a couple of details here. Kilo 2. I didn't want that. I wanted the airport. Okay, here we go. It's in Colorado. Elevation is 7,416 feet. Magnetic declination is 8 to the east. Wow, that's weird for me. 18,000 feet transition. Transition is 18,000. Doesn't bother us. It will be sunrise 132. No big deal. Bearing about 20 miles away. Sweet. Runway today is going to be, let me just look this up while I'm flying and not paying attention to anything I'm doing right now. We're going to be landing towards the east. So for us, that's going to be runway 9. So when we get there, again, the direction we're basically traveling in now is going to be the direction that we're going to be arriving in. So it makes it, like I said, not too bad. Not too bad. But nice when I have my charts right in front of me. And the real plane, of course, my chart's on my lap. Or more likely, the chart is on my wife's knee, because she has a really nice little kind of a trifold. And you open the thing up, and you stick the iPad on one side, and then your little notes go on the other side. And you can like write down, like, pencils things in. And she'd be, if we're not like navigating or anything like that, she'd be sitting there. One of the fun things is in the Mooney is we don't have a GPS. So, she basically turned the iPad around so I could kind of figure out where we are if we're not tracking a VOR or something like that. And it's just kind of a nice little reference. All right, so we're going to have to get over the top of this thing ahead of us here. And I can kind of see there's a nice little split. Look at how beautiful this region is. Under the nice dramatic throws. That's the advantage to having a joystick that's also your view control. Oh, look at that. Oop, too much. Is that an F-15 Eagle? Love it. Get ourselves all lined up. There's a nice little valley we're actually going to sneak through. We're going to ignore the river for a minute here. There we go. I'm going to kind of come a little to the right. Looks good to me. Kind of power up. Lovely. Of course, last week, too, we just had Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is an interesting tradition in the United States. It's a great opportunity to kind of get family together. I was thinking, when I was a kid, the big thing would be like you finally get to see your cousins. And for me back in the day, they would go with my dad's folks. And what we would do is, they'd have dinner at like 5 or something like that. So we get there at like 2:33, and we go down to the basement. And I basically watch my cousin play video games for 3 hours straight. Of course, back then, video games were Nintendo and Super Nintendo. And one of the fun things with all that, of course, was the fact that, you just sat there and watched. You didn't play. It's not like, today it was like, I'm going to go play Halo with my friends or something like that. We just didn't do that. You didn't have that capability. Or, when you got Super Nintendo and eventually PlayStation 1, I remember, which if you try to use the disc as a DVD player, you're just going to destroy the DVD player part of the PlayStation, as everybody knows. But, you'd sit there and watch it for hours, and then dinner would come around. You'd sit there, and our big family tradition, of course, is something called cream cheese pie. And for those of you who are not familiar with cream cheese pie, you're missing out. You can go look it up. Good luck finding a recipe for it, because it's one of those things. It's not like a delicacy at all, but it's one of those things that my family have just done forever. Basically, what you do is you take 2 bricks of cheesecake. Cheesecake, that'd be easy, wouldn't it? 2 bricks of cream cheese, and you mix it with like 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, and a confectioner sugar if you got it. And then what you do is you put in a little bit of cream that you kind of whip, usually like half a cup or about half a cup of cream. Mix it all together, and then you drop in a little bit of vanilla extract at the end. And some people like to put in a little bit of lemon, but you got to kind of be careful with lemon because it tends to make it a lemon cream cheese pie. Then you take all of that and you just run it in your blender until it gets kind of smooth, not quite chunky, but kind of a thing. Take that whole apparatus and just drop it directly into a graham cracker crust. Now, if you don't have a graham cracker crust, all you do is take a bunch of graham crackers, crunch them up, and then pour in some melted butter. Crunch it up a bunch more together, and then, I kid you not, stick it into a pie plate and just push it down. The melted butter will act as kind of the moisture to kind of like stick everybody together. You can bake that for like 10 minutes at 350. That's F, not C. Don't do that at C, please. And then you put your cream cheese on top of it, or your filling. Chuck that in the fridge for like an hour, 2 hours, and you get this incredibly poor man's cream cheesecake, I should say. But it's like absolutely 100% delicious, and anybody who I've ever introduced to it thinks it's the greatest thing ever, with the exception of strawberry pretzel salad, which is really the greatest thing ever. And people don't believe me when they try that. They're like, why would you put pretzels and strawberries together? But I don't want to make everybody hungry, so I'll just continue that line of thought. But the fact is, my family has been making cream cheese pie forever. And it's kind of one of those things where when I met my wife, I introduced them to it, and their family always makes it now, and it's just amazing. But my favorite part of the whole story actually comes down to many, many years earlier, is where the original recipe came from. And it was my dad's mom, who we call Granny, super fun. Interesting lady, by the way. Very old-fashioned. So one of the great things is when they made this originally, they got it off the back of a package of like whipped cream or something like that. Like it was like maybe even the cream cheese itself, the brick. So it was one of those where it was just like, your Betty Crocker recipe #1 kind of thing. And it ends up being this like tradition and delicacy that you can't even find anymore. And at least it is for us. Maybe it is not for you, but I always thought that was kind of fun. Notice, by the way, we've been steadily increasing in altitude here. We've got ourselves a little bit of altitude, but I'm actually going to have to reset the mixture here because we've gotten high enough to actually need a mixture adjustment. Give it a couple more clicks. That's about right. Keep in mind, it's a lot colder than it was, so we probably should have adjusted the mixture a while ago, but that's all right. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find the river again, which should be right off of our 12 o'clock. There it is. I can see it shimmering. A cool thing you don't see in the real world is that when the light hits this just right, it's like a million diamonds blasting into your eyes at the same time. It is tremendously uncomfortable in the real plane. But as I promised, there it is. There's your Ardennes salmon, a little bit thicker there. Go ahead and poke my head out the window here. Then we're going to go catch up with the river and basically we can sort of follow this little mountain range right off our left here to the left. I definitely would not want to attempt to operate this airplane here, as I've said already, but that's okay. We lose a little bit of ground speed and airspeed when we get a little higher up here. All right, we're going to execute our turn in just a second. And there we go. Look at how nice that is. Now, if you look way off in the distance, I'll try to zoom in for you so you can see it. That little mountain range right there, that's basically our objective. So we're trying to get to the other side of that. Of course, knowing us, we're not going to go over it. We're just going to go right through it. And that should get us just about where we need to be. And like I said, we're pretty much going to be lined up for landing when we get there. So it's going to be pretty safe for us. There we go. All nice and lined up. No automatic pilot today. I mean, we're lucky we have any trim at all, because the trim on this thing, would have been obnoxious to set. There we go. Now we can see we're pretty well lined up with that little region right on the far side. Delightful. Check out the other window real quick just to make sure everything looks good. Nice. Check out the other window. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Delightful. All right, let's just do some quick calculations here. What do we got here? I'm just doing something real fast, doing some math. Oh, runway's lighted. Distance 141. Sunrise. I always love that. Let's see. Looks pretty good to me. Anybody ever use ChartFox? It's kind of one of those things. one of the things I always imagine is if we had to drive this, anybody who's feeling really brave and wants to go into Google Maps or whatever you like to use as equivalent, and dial in our journey we just took by car, even though we're flying this not terribly amazing airplane. Yeah, you wouldn't want to try this one by car. This would have taken quite a while, assuming the weather even holds up enough for you to be able to do it. There we go. Just going to kind of nice and reline back up here. We picked up a lot of altitude here, but we kind of need it. You'll see what I mean when we get through the range here. One of the things I love is look at the old school airspeed indicator, or detector, where you use the Venturi and basically measure the pressure drop. Ah, it's so cool! Man, that's ancient. Very, not very precise. It worked, but just wasn't very precise. There we go. Not bad at all. Oh, Lafrog's doing what I would do. Imagine trying to glide through this region rather than try to power our way through it like we're doing here. That'd be awesome. Is that what I thought it was? Yeah, all the different flags on the front of it. Nice. I love how the engine's just like the big old spinner there. Oil cooler. Man, they got the works in this. Look at how terrible the wheels look on this thing. Nice. Love it. All right, 12 o'clock. Make it a little easier to see. So we have one more dangerous mountain range to get through to get to our destination here. Now, we could try something stupid like an instrument approach, but I think we'd have to invent our own instrument approach here. I don't think we could safely just go wee down through the clouds or something like that. I guess you could do it with a timer. If people knew where you were, they could probably work it out. I feel like it wouldn't be very safe one way or the other. That wasn't wide enough at the end. Uh-oh. Good to know. So basically, we just received a report that we need to keep our altitude. So maybe instead of go diving down, I'm actually going to try to pinch myself through the two peaks there just to give myself a little bit more wiggle room here. Oh, boy. Now, one of the interesting things is, by the way, well, we did create memberships a little while ago for our channel, which is pretty cool. So that's been an interesting process. And surprisingly, I have members, which I thought was cool. And thanks to those two individuals. Very much appreciated for your support in that regard. And it's just been kind of neat. I've thrown a couple videos out here and there. I'm not going to encourage or deny or support or anything like that, but it's there. It's there. And let's see here. As we kind of spread our way through here, we need to figure out what the approach speed for this thing is going to be. Now, modern airplanes, it's really easy. You just look at the airspeed indicator and go, so where it starts turning white, add 10. Got it. For this aircraft, we don't have that, so we're going to have to use the think system, which I'm not looking forward to. So when we pop out here, the runway is going to be off of our right, and you'll see exactly what I mean once we get a little bit closer here. I wonder if we've actually exceeded the service ceiling of this airplane. You know, I never thought of that, but it's possible. Love this region. Of course, if you're in your L39 like we did when we were in Tbilisi last time, Georgia rather, you would have that opportunity. And look at how open everything gets as we start to poke out at the top of the Rocky Mountains here. Imagine all those nice cables that are crossing over this right now. Those really, really dangerous invisible cables. Yeah, you know exactly why they do that. I'd probably open this thing up for a second. Oh, that didn't help me at all. Looks pretty good from the front. All right, we'll come sneak down here. We're going to Kremlin, like I said. I think we're getting a little close to this side. Yeah, we're fine. Fine. No problem. No problem at all. Oops. We were fine. Come over to my right just a tiny bit. And look at that. That is a beautiful little opening here. We've actually managed to get through this whole flight with only doing a little bit of that. But makes me feel pretty good to think that it is indeed possible with a little bit of creativity and a lot of sticking your head out the window to actually pull this flight off, which I think is cool. And I think that's, like I said, a bit of an achievement on our part. Okay, we should be in a right base. Find the runway. Find the runway. Same problem in the real world. By the way, airports in the real world in the winter are the easiest things in the world to see. It's just a black line. It's like, oh, hello. Like, it's that complicated. All right, so we have a squiggle in the river, and there's our runway. Right there. Right there. Okay, so now I've got the bad news, and that's the fact that we have to get this thing down on the ground. We've had a pretty safe flight so far. Everything's been going okay. We managed to get through, no problem. But now we have to get down. There are no flaps. We have little tiny ailerons here. We have our little display here that we can utilize. We can fly out the window. We can fly out the screen. I'm not sure what combination is going to be best for us for this. So let's see how it plays out. I got some bad feelings about this. I love how you can see the reflection of the plane in the plane of the reflection of the plane. I just love the flight streamers or the flight YouTube folks who they never fly from inside the plane. I'm like, but. Just kind of one of those, wow, this does not help in the slightest, even though I can see where I'm going. I feel like claustrophobic looking out that little tiny window there. Yikes. And there's our lovely spots. I'm going to go ahead and start with this part now, because I do have to get going actually relatively soon today. This was a relatively lengthy flight for us. So as always, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on these flights. Thank you for helping me reach 30,000 subscribers. Thank you for viewing all the videos and putting up with the world's not greatest sound. Thank you for all those other things. I'm not perfect. Thank you for your patience with me when I go and fix things later on those other pieces. I appreciate all of your support always. If there's any questions you have or comments or things you'd like to see in future videos, this would be a great time to go ahead and let us know what they are as we're kind of coming in for final here. Because I can always put that on my big old list of things we're going to be making videos of in the future, and then we can go ahead and get that. The Aurora might actually be more challenging to land than this plane. I hate to say it. Of course, it's not an Aurora. It's whatever the heck, the X, whatever it is. Look at how fast it slows down. I don't know if this is better or worse than using the window. I guess I could do this. Oh my gosh, it's like having a tiny little window. Resisting the urge to use third person. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate this. We're here. What was that, 2 bounces? You're welcome, Lafarod. Look at that. Yeah, you better believe it. So not only do... oh, the parking brake things came out. That's what killed me the first time. So here we are. We've made it all the way to Kremling. Like I said, that was one heck of a journey. I can't believe I chose this airplane to do this with. This was probably not the best choice. There are definitely better planes out there for the purposes of doing canyon flying or... let's say any flying, but this was a bit of a trip, and I thought that was kind of fun. Good to see everybody. I've got a picture already that I stole while we were in mid-flight there. Man, is this thing difficult to turn on the ground. But as always, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support. Look forward to continue doing this, and looks like we're going to Iceland next, so I need to figure out the best bush plane for that. Probably the Antonov, but we'll see there when we get there.